listening to Radio Azad. I'm with Dr. Basaria, our health and wellness coach, and we are talking about triggers today. From triggered to transformed, I see a lot of people who go in this downward spiral.
True.
And then they're binge eating, they have just terrible relationships with food, leading bad lifestyles, addictions, so on and so forth. Let's talk a little bit about that. First of all, if you can define for us what really are triggers.
So, triggers are emotional landmines,
Okay.
small moments that create big reactions, right? And why it is so? Because um, these moments are rooted in some unresolved pain that has happened in the past.
Okay.
So, a tone of voice can be a trigger, right? An unreturned text can create a trigger.
Okay.
When we have a tough day and we come back home and we see ourselves in a mirror and our mood completely shifts, right? So triggers are basically, they're not a sign that we are broken. They bring our attention to something, parts of us that need to be heard, seen, or healed. So these are the opportunities where you can see what inside of you, the power that is inside of you want to reclaim that. And where are those places?
So it can be even something simple like your child says something
Yes.
and you just go crazy.
Yes.
Excuse me. And it's nothing to do with your child, but it could be something that he or she has said, which sets you off. Maybe something
Which has
happened at
touched
work.
that pain point
Yeah.
that you have developed maybe in your childhood, or you were conditioned as you were growing up.
Okay. What are some of the common emotional triggers?
So, well, there are different kinds of triggers, right? So there are external triggers and then there are internal triggers.
Okay.
So external triggers come from people, situations, experiences, right? So that person who ignored me, or when I felt left alone, or when we are criticized, or when I see my body in the mirror and don't like it, right? So those are external, coming from the situations, people. And then there are internal triggers, such as guilt, shame, comparison, or a limiting belief that is whispering, you're not good enough or you will never change. Right? So you see, when I feel left out, that triggers abandonment. Right? When I see other people succeeding, maybe that is bringing, or that is triggering inadequacy in me. When I make a mistake, I feel like a failure. So that triggers shame. Or when I say no to somebody, that triggers guilt, especially if, I'm raised as a people pleaser. So you see, triggers are our teachers. They are dressed as tensions, but they bring our attention to the parts of us that still need more love. So each trigger is a door. You can slam it shut and go in a spiral, or you can open it and see, ask yourself, okay, what is inside of me that's still hurting? What needs some love, some solution, some healing?
I see. So, for example, when you were a child and maybe, you were constantly criticized or you were constantly had to submit to your father or mother or, whichever it was, and you expect the same from other people, and that's not happening, that could act like a trigger.
Yes, because your sense of control is not inside of you, it's outside. So when you control others, when they do things according to you, then you're happy.
Yeah.
Otherwise, something is wrong.
Exactly. Now, obviously, a lot of it is identifying that you are getting triggered, right? And what happens when we are getting triggered? What kind of reactions are going on?
So we generally, to a trigger, we generally do not react in a way that makes sense. Okay? Because our nervous system and our body is reacting to the past. It's not responding in the present moment.
Okay.
You see? Because it has a root in past, right? Because something went wrong because of which we created that wound. So we may get completely defensive or emotionally shut down, or we lash out and scream, become
Rage.
angry.
Yeah.
Yes. Or we can become over apologetic. That can happen too, right? We can spiral into guilt, shame, comparison, becoming anxious, self-doubting, right? So that's a spiral we can go into. We can emotionally eat.
Yes.
And a lot of times we don't numb ourselves only through eating or drinking, wrong things, but also over scrolling, over shopping, binge shopping, right? Binge watching,
Yeah.
overworking, perfectionism, judging ourselves and others, controlling others. So you see, triggers in when we are triggered, we are not responding in the moment. We are reacting to something that is a wound from the past.
So many different ways, and like you even talked about emotional eating, the binge eating part of it, right? And or even the other extreme, people just leave food, they starve themselves.
Yes. So it can be any extreme, right?
Yeah.
You can be defensive, you can shut down, you can lash out, you can be over apologetic, guilt, shame, fear, anxiety, self doubt, all of that. Yeah.
And it's recognizing then that you are in this, you're triggered, you're in this downward spiral, your relationships are not working, you are not working, and then something needs to be done.
Yeah. So awareness is the first thing. That's what we are doing today,
Yeah.
right? So if you're listening here and you say, oh, I see myself in these spirals, know that you are triggered and it has its root in the past, which you need to heal. There are things inside of you that needs to be seen, heard, healed, responded to, worked out,
Yeah.
right?
Right. And it may have nothing to do with people around you. They
Yes.
just happen to be there.
It's almost never has anything to do with people around. It is something inside of us. That's why I said it's a door, it's a mirror. It's showing you where or what inside of you needs to be healed.
Yeah. And that's what we are going to be talking about today on the show. Do download the Radio Azad iPhone or Android app, and you can participate in our live shows.